Well, good afternoon here on the West Coast. Boy, it's sunny. And on the East Coast, it's also afternoon. And wherever you are in the world, we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we have got a great show for you today. And the reason it's a great show is I'll never forget I was in Connecticut and I stopped at some McDonald's. This was about 3 or 4 years ago, and a friend of mine had sent me a little video. And I just thought it was going to be a video where I just watch and it's not very interactive. And I was blown away because it's what you can see behind me. iDecide Interactive. And that was the first introduction that I saw where it was an interactive video, and I would answer questions and it would respond. And it wasn't some human being, which I love people, as you all know, but it wasn't a human being trying to pitch me anything. It was the first experience that I'd ever had that was close to artificial intelligence. And I just said, who's behind this? And lo and behold, a year or so transpired, and I met the founder of this company in where I went to high school in Orange County, California, Newport Beach. And we've become good friends, and his company is flourishing, and it's called iDecide Interactive. And I'll just tell you a little bit about his background. He grew up in New York. He went to Hofstra University and studied business. He loves sports. Actually, he's right now in the great state of Ohio, where they have a great team. They've got three great teams. They've got the Ohio State Buckeyes, they've got the Cincinnati Bengals, and hopefully the Cleveland Browns will turn it around. But it's a great state of Ohio. And he went on to run restaurants and nightclubs in the 80s. And I was in the 90s. I was in New York City when he was running clubs, and I probably went to one of his restaurants or nightclubs when I was living there in New York. And then in 1999, he joined Transamerica Financial Advisors and became the chief executive officer for Transamerica Financial Advisors, which is a very large corporation. He was with them from 1999 to 2017. And then in 2017, and he can share a story of how he came, had this vision and put together the team for iDecide Interactive. And it is the best marketing tool I've ever worked with that takes the human element out of sharing, because we are, we make mistakes, and we're infallible. And it's almost like the analogy I would say is if you play chess and you want to go up against the computer. The computer beats the greatest chess masters in the world, and that's what's happening with the technology is available, so that whatever you want to share, whatever product or service, there's technologies that can do a better job of sharing than you can. So, without further ado, I want to bring him on, Mike Boccia. Mike, welcome. You're on the dot, my friend.
Thank you, Mike. Great to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to be on your show.
Well, I'm just honored to have you, because again, three years ago, I was so excited when I saw your technology, and now here we are on the dot. How did you? I mean, we talked a little bit about your background. Share, how did this all happen, and how did you get excited about this amazing technology?
Yeah, no, when I was with Transamerica, I mean, our system, our business model was actually a seminar selling system. So I was doing 3, 4, 5, 6 seminars a week. And for those of you that have done public speaking, you know that, sometimes when you're speaking, well, all the time when you're speaking, you're not going to connect with your audience 100% of the time, right? So I would talk about one topic and half the audience's eyes would light up and the other half would go dead. But then I'd switch topics and the reverse would happen, right? So the other half lights up, this side goes dead. And I started to think, man, two things. Number one, I wish I could find a way where I didn't have to do all these presentations, right? Because they're time consuming. And anybody who's in sales or marketing knows that you spend a lot of time presenting to people who are just looky-loos, right? They're not really interested. So they're interested, but they're just kicking the tires. So you waste a lot of time. So I was trying to find a way that I could, number one, duplicate myself, but also appeal to the audience in the way they wanted to learn. So let them choose what they want to see, not what I'm forcing them to learn about. So yeah, the idea for iDecide came at me one night when I was driving to yet another seminar. I was on the Pennsylvania Turnpike driving from Ohio to Pittsburgh. And I thought, man, if we could just come up with a way to let them choose what they want to see and send them a link to watch it at their convenience instead of having them come to a seminar. So I remember I pulled over to the side of the road, called a programmer that I know, and I said, hey, can we do this, this, and this? And he said, yeah, I think we can. I said, but I wanted to do this, this, and that. And he said, yeah, we can do that. And I said, but can we have calculators? I don't want it to be a video. Everybody's using videos. Videos are boring. And I said, so if we have calculators in it, can we show real-time data on the screen? And can we show different prices in different countries automatically? And he said, yeah, I think we can do that. So millions of lines of code later and, millions of dollars, but we've got iDecide Interactive. So that's how it started, Mike. And the reason I built it was to make it easier for people to tell their story. For the what is it? The number one fear people have is public speaking. So they would actually literally rather die than speak in public. So how many stories do people have? How many products, how many messages that are not being told? And people, products only as good as the people who know about it, right? You have the best product in the world. If nobody knows it exists, it's going to benefit nobody. So I really designed it we say we like to empower the inspired. So people they're inspired to promote their product or their cause. We want to help them do that. And iDecide's the perfect way to do that. So
Yeah, it is, and it's so exciting. It reminds me of when I, Google or Yahoo or during the .com boom, and now with I'm working with a company that has trademarked the word social referral marketing, and I've put you in touch with this company because I
yeah.
think any company that is in the social referral marketing business can benefit from iDecide. And in some of the companies, maybe you could talk about some of the companies that are using your technology.
Yeah. Well, we've got some of the biggest companies in the world now using it, thank God. But we started with one product called iDecide Custom. And that was it's an enterprise product because we custom build literally every graphic on the screen, every animation, every interaction is custom built. So it's only profitable for us if we deal with large companies. Um, but for about 2 years, I said, there's got to be a way for the individual sales rep, the mom and pop business owner, to benefit from iDecide. So we worked on it for 2 years. We're just in pre-launch now of a product called My iDecide, where anybody can build their own iDecide presentation. So it doesn't matter if they're, have an individual who has 4 sales reps in his heating and cooling company, or an attorney who wants to use it for his practice, whatever the case may be. Now we have My iDecide along with iDecide Custom. And then we built a bridge product. So we know that a lot of people aren't into creating as much as editing. So we have iDecide Assist, where we'll actually build the presentation for you on the My iDecide platform. And you just answer a few questions for us. We build the presentation for you, hand it over to you for you to edit and fine tune it and bring it home. So now we have My iDecide, iDecide Assist, and iDecide Custom. So in the network marketing space, we've been around for years. I mean, we've got iBoomerang uses us, Beamer, Healy. I mean, some of the biggest companies in the industry. We just started with eXp Realty. So yeah, the list goes on. Thank God we're in 89 countries now. I don't know, a couple of dozen languages. Yeah, thank God it's helped a lot of people. But now I'm more excited that we can help anyone now through all 3 products.
Wow, that's so exciting,
Uh,
Mike. And how many people do you have on your team with iDecide?
we like to keep it small and close knit family. So we've got sales reps, all over the country, but we're only about a dozen strong. We like to keep it lean and mean, and we're based out of Ohio. So yeah.
Centrally located.
Yeah, that's where our home office is. That's where I am right now. I live out in California, but I'm here right now working out of the office. Yeah, excited. Good stuff happening.
And what's the best way if someone wants to get involved and use your technology? What's the best way to sign up and join?
Yeah, you can go right to our website, idecide.com. Um, that'll take you to all three products, whether it's my iDecide, Assist, or Custom. So iDecide.com. If you have any questions, there's a little widget that'll pop up and ask you if you want to talk to somebody. So that'll happen like within 10 seconds. You get directed to a live person. Um, and a lot of time I'll take those calls myself because I want to hear what people have to say. I want to hear the feedback. I want to hear what they're going to use it for. We're doing one now for a political campaign. So we've never been in that space before. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the different use cases that are out there for iDecide. So yeah, iDecide.com will take you to all three products, and then we can get you more information. But
Well, what I love about this StreamYard is I can go down here and create a banner, and I just say to learn more about iDecide. This is where we go. Go to, and then I just put the little there like that, and then I click scroll across the bottom, add the banner, and let's see if it shows up.
look at that. You're a technological genius. Love it.
Yeah. I know. So, well, I think, we were talking about the interactive nature of OnTheDot and, other questions I have. Where do you see this all going? I mean, if you project 5 years from now, Mike, what's your projection in the next 5 years as far as how your company evolves?
It's we keep trying to add more things, and the biggest thing right now, in my opinion, is separating ourselves from video because everybody's using video, but studies show that the attention span for video is only 90 seconds. So everybody's using video thinking they're doing these, and they're spending a lot of money creating video, right? But it's very expensive to make. And then, it's not interactive at all. So, in my opinion, things have to get more interactive. You have to tailor the message to the person that you're speaking to and let them choose how they want to learn, what they want to see, and get them right to it because they're going to fade away. They're going to lose the attention and they're gone. So, and whether that's in a webinar, live presentation, even this one, right? So, I mean, you could be the greatest speaker in the world. A lot of people are already tuned out. We've been on for 12 minutes, and the attention span is just such that people don't have the time or the bandwidth mentally to stay with it. So they just check out. So imagine if this presentation, Mike, had icons on the screen where they can get right to the part of the presentation that they want to see. That's what iDecide does. So in 5 years, we're looking to get even more interactive and more, like you said, AI based. So right now, for example, if we have a presentation in English and I send it to you, and you're in Spain, our software will detect the language of the browser that you're using and show you the presentation in that language. So the voiceover will change, the on-screen information will change, everything will change to Spanish. So no, nothing needs to be done. It just does it automatically. It detects where you are geographically and can change the presentation based on your local currency will show up or what have you. So it has to go further down that road. So, I mean, I've got 6 keys that I want to go over that will make your presentation better, whether you use iDecide or not. But I would encourage you to definitely look at something that makes your presentation more engaging and more interactive. So, where I see it in 5 years, I don't even know, Mike, because it's changed so much just over the last 5. The world has changed. I mean, think of where we were 5 years ago. And then the pandemic literally boosted us 10 years into the future technology wise because people needed to use it more. So yeah, it's hard to imagine what 5 years will be like, but we're changing every day. We're not resting on our laurels. We want to keep getting better and better and make it better for the user.
Yeah, I remember saying, I learned this, I think, in graduate school. The only endearing business is the business of change. And if you don't embrace change, then you really have to just love change. So
Yeah,
we're in that kind of world.
yeah,
Well, as I mentioned to you, you get the last word with OnTheDot, and we do know that people's attention span. So this might be one of the shortest OnTheDots, but the most impactful because there's people out there that I know can use this technology. And Mike, I just want to say before I give it off to you, I would like to use this, especially the one that I could design. And if you could teach me how to do it, I would be so grateful. So thank you
awesome.
so much for
Yeah,
coming on the show. And you get the last word.
Well, if
Thank
it's all
you.
right with you, Mike, I want to go over those 6 points because I really want to give people value whether they use iDecide or not. So if that's okay with you, we'll cover what I call the spider technique.
Yeah, let's go over it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason one of the I looked at iDecide and why it's so effective. A couple of the reasons why it's so effective, and I said, people can use some of those benefits, whether they're doing an online presentation or a live presentation, right? I think everyone struggles with presenting and everybody can get better at it, right? So, what are 6 things people can do to get better at presenting, whether you use iDecide or not? iDecide incorporates all 6, of course, but so I created what I call the spider technique of presenting. And it's an acronym, of course, SPIDER. So if you look at each of the 6, we'll cover them real quick. But number 1 is short. Keep your presentation short. So we all have heard sales presentations that have just gone on and on and on, right? People just go, I mean, I'll never forget. I did in my Transamerica days, I would field train reps, right? So they would watch me present, and then they would learn how to do it themselves. So one of my reps was going into a person's home to present for the first time. So he's on his way to the appointment. I called him. I said, "Hey, call me as soon as you're done. Let me know how it goes." Right? And an hour goes by. He still hasn't called me. An hour and 15, he hasn't called me. Hour and a half goes by, and I think, well, he must have just forgot to call me. So I'll call and check up on him. Right? I call, it goes to voicemail, and I get a text. Hey, still in the present, still doing the presentation. An hour and a half later, and my response back to him was like a horror movie where the person's on the phone with the police. My response back to him was, "Get out of the house. Get out of the house. Nobody wants to hear you for an hour and a half. Get out." I mean, and again, we tend to think that everything about our product or service is the best in the world. So we want to tell them everything about it. They don't care. Nobody wants you around that long, right? Tell them whatever you have to do, shorten it. Shorten it, shorten it, shorten it. So number 1, S, spider. Remember spider? S, short. Keep it short. The next point is P, personalize it. Whenever possible, use the person's name in your presentation, right? That alone releases feel good chemicals in their brain. Just hearing their name makes them feel good. That's what you want. You want them to associate feeling good with you or your product or your service. So personalize it anytime you can with their name. Also, by asking, what do you want to learn about? These are some of the things that we do. Which one do you want to hear about? Let them tell you. I had the most success with that when I was out in the field at Transamerica and in the other businesses that I've had. Hey, we do all kinds of stuff. Tell me what you're interested in and let them tell you. So personalize it. So S, short. P, personalize. I, make it interactive. You've got to talk to people. You've got to ask. You've got to ask questions. You've got to keep them engaged. What do you think about that? How does that make you feel? If we were to do this, how would you feel? If you didn't have this, what would you feel like? How would that make you feel? I mean, just engage and interact whenever possible. So short, personalized, interactive. D, data. I can't tell you how many salespeople do presentation after presentation after presentation without tracking anything. If you're a sales rep or presenting anything, you should know how many presentations you did, what the outcome was, how long they were, how long did it last, what were the questions they asked, what were the objections, what were you able to overcome, what were you not able to overcome, where did you lose their attention in that presentation? You've got it, but most of the time, sales reps don't track any of that. They just mentally track it. So if you ask them how many presentations you do last week, I think 12 to 15. No, how many presentations did you do? You should know exactly how many you did. How many closed? What was your close rate? How many of them wanted more information? How many of them got turned into a customer? The data should drive everything because that leads us to our next point. E stands for edit. You should be making changes to your presentation constantly based on the data, not your gut feeling, right? So if you edit the presentation, it should be a very fluid product, your presentation, your sales presentation, your pitch, whatever you want to call it. It's got to be a constantly evolving presentation, but it should be evolving based on data, not your gut feeling. Once you do all that, It's short, it's personalized, it's interactive, it's data driven, and you're constantly editing it to improve it. Then you go to R, which is just repeat, repeat, repeat. Because if you're doing all those things right, that presentation should be a money machine, right? Those sales should just keep coming in, because it's a never ending improvement, right? It should constantly be refined and improved upon. But it's just repeat that thing, and then your presentation's on autopilot and the income is on autopilot. You know that for every X number of presentations given, it should result in Y number of dollars in your account. Therefore, we just increase the number of presentations, and the revenue should increase accordingly. And then you can automate it, right? Whether it be a webinar, a video, what have you. I would suggest using iDecide, but I'm a little biased because iDecide will do all 6 of those for you. And now that you can do it yourself for as little as $100. In my opinion, it's silly not to. But if you're doing your presentations live, webinar, Zoom, I don't care what you're doing, please use the spider technique. Short, personalized, interactive, data-driven edits, and repeat, repeat, repeat. So Mike, with that, I am done. I just wanted to, again, give people value, whether they use iDecide or not. To me, that's important. I want people to get value from hearing us, whether they become a customer or not. Of course, I'd love for you to be a customer of iDecide. We'd love to help you get started using iDecide Assist. If you have a large company with 1,000 or more sales reps, or a large team of sales reps, if you're in the network marketing space, for example, we'd love to help you with iDecide Custom and help you grow your business and help it make it easier for your reps to duplicate you, because now they don't have to tell the story themselves. iDecide will do it for you. So that's all I got, Mike. I hope that was of some value for you and your viewers, and hope to see you guys soon at iDecide.com. Thanks.